Lions Lady Jill Parsons is with us. Jill, thank you for coming. And Will Power. Now, Will, that's a great name.
Now,
People
when
ask
you
you,
want to email me, it's a little bit easy for you to remember.
but I mean, you know, like, have you been referred to as a race car driver?
Yes, yeah, that was actually good when you came along.
Yeah.
A bit more.
Well, my husband would, you know, he's not here tonight, but he races himself,
Oh, there you go.
Speedway.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he loves all the other car racing as well. So yeah. So welcome. I will go straight to our. Let me see now. So we better be upstanding for our loyal toast. And are we going to sing tonight, people? No. We'll just do the loyal toast.
Yes.
All right. So are we all upstanding? And to, I was going to say Queen then, to King and Country.
King Country.
He's still kicking along nicely from what I gather. He's been over in Rome to see the Pope. So yeah, so we won't actually sing, so if you can just sit down. And we're going to go straight to the Secretary's report. Lime Peter.
Thank you. So, Secretary's report. So thank you, Poe, for doing the minutes the last meeting. So firstly, better move that the minutes of the dinner meeting held on 2nd of April be accepted as a true and accurate record. I'm going to put you down to move that, Poe. Thank you. Sina, wasn't it? Those in favour? Cool. Thank you. Business arising from the minutes. Poe did an awesome job. Nothing. It's finished. No business arising. New business. We've got a donation request for refurbishing the Lions 201 N3 Sensory Trail at the Hunter Wetlands. So I've got a letter here, but it's a $16,000 project. They're hoping to get government funding, but Lions to pay about $5,000 to assist in resurfacing new signage. The trail opened in 1997. Do you go down there and help them do that, Gary? Because I can remember that. I got here in 96 and can remember going down to do it.
I did that through
Okay. Anyway, so probably at our board meeting we'll bring that up, whether we want to donate to help them redo that. We've got a letter, a formal, many emails on the Cubby House. The only one I've actually recorded as my stuff is the flower power confirmation of the site for the Cubby House in April and May, so that's all sorted. There's a thank you there from ALF Disaster Relief Appeal, our $2,000 donation to Cyclone Alfred Appeal. So they got very good returns on that, so they've got plenty of money to give away. And the last one, bad news with the Save Site Healthcare New South Wales car raffle. Wasn't won by us, it was won by Halliday's Point Lions Club. They sold a total of $51,000 worth of tickets. And that letter included an update. I think I mentioned once before, but they're restructuring those two foundations into one single foundation. So they gave us a bit of an update on where that's at. But that was all. Okay, thank you. Oh, do you want me to do apologies? Kathy Barkley put an apology in, Tony Biggett, Pauline Hogg, standing apologies from Ian Fletcher and Jim Hodgins. Apology from Rosalie, I think she's had her surgery, has she? Yep.
She's still in hospital now.
Still in hospital? Okay. And David and Joan. So, that was all.
Thank you, Peter. We'll now have the Treasurer's report line, Doug.
Hello. Seems to be working, that's good. So this report says that April 16, and the balance in the admin account for the April 16 is exactly the same balance as it was 31st of March, which is $9,926.88. But there has been some activity in the activities account. because we've had the Maitland show and we've also had Steam Fest and we've had the Cubby. So income for the month was $9,900, of which the Cubby is approximately $1,020. Steam Fest was, this is gross terms of course, this is about $6,400. And the Maitland show was $2,300. Yeah, the Maitland markets, that's right, it was the market. I put show there, but I should put markets. You can have this, a copy. And the outgoings, what was associated with the events. So there were no donations during the period from March to April. Just activities, as I say, related to the two events. The balance in the activities account, April 16, is $30,813.78. And there's still $5,000 in the IMB account. So if the admin account, 992688, if someone could approve that. And in the activities account, $30,813.78. That's all from the treasurer. I do have other business, but I'll keep that for later.
All those in favour? Aye,
Thank you, Doug. All right, well now we're going to move on to our brief Anzac service, led by Tony Buzek.
Thank you, Vice President Allison. I'd like to start firstly by reading the short blurb at the top, and then we'll get into the ode, etc. We are here this evening in the land of the Wonnarua people. We acknowledge the traditional owners of the country that we are on and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respect to elders past and present. At this moment in our meeting tonight, we gather to remember those who have served to defend Australia. We do this because it is the anniversary of the day when Australian and New Zealand soldiers landed on the beach at Gallipoli in Turkey on 25 April 1915. This was the first major military campaign for soldiers from Australia and New Zealand. Since then, 25th of April has been known as Anzac Day. Anzac comes from the name Australian and New Zealand Army Corps. It was shortened to Anzac in 1915. Since then, when Australian and New Zealanders have served together, they have often been known as Anzacs. At Gallipoli, Australians and New Zealanders served with soldiers from other nations, including England, France, and India. The Australians at Gallipoli came from all sorts of backgrounds, but they shared the terrible experience of war. Ever since then, for more than 100 years, the men and women in our Navy, Army, and Air Force have honoured the memory of our original Anzacs. On Anzac Day, there are many ways to honour people who have served and those who continue to serve in Australia's armed forces. We can gather together like this, attend a dawn service or an Anzac Day march. We can also wear a sprig of rosemary as a symbol of remembrance. Towards the end of the ceremony, the last post will be played on a bugle. This historical music was played in army camps to announce the end of the day, a time when soldiers should be resting. The last post is played today for those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. It means that they have done their duty and are now at rest. Even the last post, there will be after the last post, there will be 1 minute of silence. This is a time to think about those who have served the Australian Armed Forces, those who continue to serve, and about those who have lost their lives. And I might add too, there's also a moment of reveille at the end of the minute silence as well. So I ask that you all be upstanding while we go through this short ceremony.
They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them, lest we forget.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. You may be seated.
Thank you, Tony. That was very nice. Well done. All right. Well, we'll head straight on to our guest speaker tonight. Will Power from Maitland City Council is going to talk to us about sustainability, and I'll let Will fill you in on all the ins and outs of it all. Thanks, Will.
Thanks, Alison. Thank you, everyone, for having me. The main reason that I'm excited to talk to you about is our new FOGO rollout. So apart from general sustainability and hoping to be here and answer what questions I can for you, can I get a general indication who's heard of this term FOGO around town lately? Yeah, it's got months to come still, but it's also something that's been on the radar around, so I'll explain what that's all about as well. My role at council is a sustainability officer for education. So I typically spend most of the days going between anywhere from preschools to community groups like yourselves. I spent half the morning at Green Hills this morning talking to people about this very rollout. And then I work within the environment and sustainability team. which is a very mixed discipline team. We've got the likes of ecologists, mechanical engineers, the waste team, and I get the benefit of sitting with all of those interesting people and taking what they specialise in and then being the interface to the community to try to educate about that. So I get to learn from all these interesting people and then pass on the information, hopefully. So any questions that you have during the evening, I don't really want it to be me stand here and talk at you. Please make it interactive. If you've got questions, I won't wait them all till the end. We may as well answer what we can as we go. And I should mention that I'm relatively new to the role as well. So I began with council just in January just gone. Prior to me starting there, the team established across council what we now have as an environmental and sustainability policy. And it's the kind of framework that guides decision making across departments. And you'll see we've got the title up here, Going Circular with Waste, and part of this strategy is that the Going Circular with Waste is this theme that council is working towards. I'll give you this brief overview. We've got the green and blue Maitland, which is very much around our ecology and what we're doing to connect the grid of bushland and waterways that we have, to restore where there's gaps in canopy, to improve canopy cover across the city. Livable and resilient communities is around our preparedness as a community for natural disasters, changes as the community grows, and then how livable that city feels to people. And by city, I mean really across all the suburbs, both rural and urban. Living sustainably is the likes of where, for the team members that are looking at the likes of our use of water and our use of emissions as far as generating electricity, things like how do we look after the facilities that we've got across council and how do we make sure that they are being run in a more sustainable manner than they've previously been. So looking at alternative energy sources. And then there's this Going Circular with Waste. And the Going Circular, what we're talking about is how do we go from, we've got this very much a linear economy that we work in at the moment, where we generate some good or product, it gets transported somewhere, it gets used there, and then it goes to its waste stream. And the circular economy being one that a good is generated, it moves to its use, it moves to a reuse, it might be recycled at that point, and then move into another use, and basically to extend the life of whatever resource that we've originally extracted from the ground or a forest or from a waterway or something like that, and how we can maximise the use of it before it does end up in some sort of waste stream. So on that, our main focus at the moment is looking at which of those streams we can take steps to either eliminate the amount of waste that are going in them, or for that waste that is being produced, that we find alternative uses for it. So recently, you may have seen the piece in the news a good couple of weeks ago now, that New South Wales Government had mandated that local councils establish this food organics and garden organics recycling program. So this is what the FOGO talks about. F is for food, O organics, G for garden, and O again for organics. Catchy. So FOGO. So this is all about, you'll see this caddy and pictures of it around town are starting to go up on billboards. So this is our FOGO kitchen caddy. And then the process that we're moving to is that our green bin, so just your typical normal green bin that is your garden organics bin, is going to become a weekly service from the end of June. So June 30, it's a Monday, it's just off the financial year, but that's the day the service is going to start. So from Monday, June 30, we start putting the green bin out weekly, and then in conjunction with that, it's able to accept our food scraps into that bin for recycling. So presently, unless community members are recycling via compost or worm farming or chickens or bones to the dogs, all those sort of things that we want people to handle their waste at their household level as well. Those things are all great. We're not discouraging people from doing that. But for anyone who doesn't do that, the red bin is the outlet for all of that food waste. And of course the red bin is our general waste, it's our landfill bin. So one of the questions I get a lot of is, well, why is that a problem then if the food goes to the dump, it's going to get buried, something might eat it there, that sort of thing. The difference between how that food decomposes in a setting where it's a very uncontrolled and then essentially a very nitrogen-rich and methane-emitting situation compared to a controlled compost where we end up with a usable product at the end of it is the big difference. So through our audits, we know that roughly a quarter of the red bins by weight, so 24% of it is food waste. So by food waste, I'm not talking about related packaging, I'm talking about the actual edible component of food, so about a quarter of it each time. And we collect around 35,000 bins every week. So if we go a quarter of every one of those 35,000, we go there every week, and that goes into landfill as far as food, just food waste is concerned. So how do we tackle it? We look for, in the circular economy, we look to what can we do with that food waste and turn it into a usable product, but then also there's the whole education of how do we cut down the waste in the first place, basically. How do we sort food waste avoidance? So just to give you a diagram, the whole process of that circular economy is really about trying to recover and recycle resources wherever we can. Typically they just bypass that point and end up in landfill. The recycling programs we've all got very used to as far as when yellow bins started being implemented, and then diverting that waste into hopefully a reusable product. I know there's one of the challenges in the role is undoing some of the loss of, or the lack of faith in those processes, which you might have experienced yourself, where we were soft plastic recycling for a while and that got taken away. That sort of program collapsed around COVID when if you were anyone taking their soft plastics into the supermarkets and they were getting collected there, then you might have seen in the news stories around that, it wasn't getting recycled, a lot of it was going to landfill, that sort of thing. So there's that whole, there's that conception in the community of, is it actually going to good use? Is it going to be recycled or recovered in some way? So there's that to overcome as well. But this is the goal, that we end up transforming what is a waste product, find as many uses for it as we can, and then the likes of when we look at new infrastructure projects, are we looking to work with people who are tendering that are using recycled materials rather than just simply staying on the same bandwagon of using new all the time. So we follow, this is the hierarchy, and when I'm in schools and preschools, a lot of environmental programs jump in about here, so that there's waste and we recycle it and then we feel better because we recycled it. But the problem is with the sheer volume of waste that we're dealing with as it is. So rather than coming in at the recycling point and trying to recover what we can, and then for wastes that can't be recycled or recovered because they have some sort of poisonous or harmful to health or harmful to the environment thing about them, they end up being disposed of. So really what we're trying to get out and educate community members about is the avoid and reduce choices. How do you make those decisions when you're meal planning, when you're at the supermarket? How do you stop the waste before it happens, basically? Then there's a complex relationship with that, because it's as much as consumers can make the choice about reducing their waste, there's also the other side of that coin is industry and whether they're reducing waste at that end. If we're only presented with choices that are all high in packaging and high in waste, then that choice is taken away from us anyway. So it's where consumers can, and there's affordability to that, there's actual availability, whether you have access to fresh, available, unpackaged or low packaged food, makes a big difference to what gets produced when people are purchasing that food in the long run. So our bin service, when this all starts, is going to look like this. So your red bin, yellow bin and green bin, and that's sort of the language we've been using, but I'm going to take a guess and maybe not everyone has a red lidded bin. Anyone got a black lidded bin? Or an orange lidded bin? You're all on the new scheme. And there you go. I haven't been many places where everyone actually has these. Has everyone got these three coloured bins as well? Yeah, has anyone got multiples of these bins? Yeah?
Got 2 greens.
2 greens. There's-
One roof, no yellow.
Okay, residents can opt into those additional green bins. I spoke to a resident today actually who had multiple additional bins, and when this service starts, we'll be able to consider maybe it won't need so many as the frequency of the service goes up. So what will happen is the frequency of the red bin won't change. It'll be a weekly bin still. So that's a big difference to what some other councils have done when they rolled out this FOGO idea with the caddy and putting food waste in. Other councils have reduced the red bin in size, or they have taken the red bin away as a weekly service. They've made it a fortnightly service. So we're hopeful that we've learned from some of those actions and how they were received by their various communities. So we've decided that the red bin will stay weekly, the yellow bin won't change, it'll remain as fortnightly, and then your green bin will go out each week. So have a think about how that actually impacts you. You'll put your red and green out together every time, but every other week you've got to find space for that third bin as well. So 3 bins on that second week. Red, yellow and green will all go out. How does your curb look? Because I'm interested to know, because my interface is the community. I don't make these decisions, but I come out and talk to people and find out. And I can take back and go, yeah, this is the feedback. Yeah. If you're in a multi-unit dwelling, so retirement village for example, we've actually appointed an officer just in charge of that. His role is getting out, if he hasn't been there yet, he will be. He's getting out and having those conversations where if you've got multiple bins on the property, you've got the difficulty of how they actually can all go out to the curb and work in that respect. But also, it's also about getting the food scraps from your kitchen out to the appropriate green bin. And in some cases that might mean that the green bin's shared between households. Or from our end, operationally, so the waste team might change the frequency of collection. So if we've had some where it was going to result in, like 12 green bins, for example, they have to go on the curb at the same day. So instead we've separated those so that, these 6 get collected on a Monday and these 6 collected on a Thursday, that kind of thing. So your, like a strata manager or facility manager can definitely contact us, but Dean will probably do the same back to the manager as well and try to get a solution that's going to work for everyone. Because it's a program that's not only mandated, but yeah, we've signed up as far as what we have to enact contractually with people. So it's about us then being able to find the solution for our waste team and the rest of our environment team to make it work. So you've got weekly, fortnightly, and weekly is what we'll have going forward. So your red bin should typically accept these sort of things. We're talking about general waste. For now, it's food, but until June 30, and then we'll have that changeover. Plastic bags, I've got some information we can talk about where else they can go. We've already, we're seeing the benefit of reducing plastic bags at the point of sale. So that was that kind of thing I was talking about earlier. We're eliminating it at the top, but we still obviously have a lot of that. And the red bin essentially gets buried in the ground, goes to landfill. When I'm answering for people, why should we have to sign up for this, or why the council, why have we agreed to this, or why has it been mandated by the state to do it? Landfill isn't infinite, and we have to reduce the amount that we are using up and how quickly we're using it up, essentially. So if we go back to the 35,000 bins and the quarter of the bin by weight being food, you can imagine the volume that we're saving from actually getting to landfill and then prolonging the life of our facilities before we have to pick a new spot. So your yellow bin, this is available. So with our bins, they're contracted with different third parties. Okay, so with our yellow bin, if you pop onto our website, anyone been on our waste website? It's part of the council website. If you're unsure about a particular item, our waste team, they've put together a very exhaustive list of from A to Z. If you've got something, you have a look, match it up on there, and you'll be able to find which of the 3 coloured bins it belongs in. And this A to Z guide is available on there as well. And then this is sort of explaining what the key changes are going to be with the green bin. So A&L is the third party that's going to take care of it for us. They are the present company that already composts what goes in your green bin. Has anyone ever had the compost from there? Anyone received the bags at some of the giveaways or at the seedling pickups? That kind of thing? So presently, the green bin gets collected and does go out to their facility where they break down that garden waste, turn it into compost. We give that away as vouchers or bags with some of our, usually at our seedling giveaways. We had our 4 during Seniors Week back at the end of February into early March, where we do the seedling giveaways at the libraries. And so what has to happen at sort of the industry level is the different facilities that do the composting process, they upgrade to be able to handle food. So that has to happen across multiple sites across the state. And we're at the point where I think we're one of about 30 councils that will be doing it, and then all the others have got to do it within 5 years. So there's a bit of a race on, I suppose, of facilities getting to the point where they're accepting food into this composting process. So it'll get centralised at Weston. All our trucks will do the pickup across the city, goes to their A&L facility at Weston, and then it'll get congregated basically and then taken to Tea Gardens where the actual composting facility is. It's a different facility because that compost has to sit and be there for, it's around about 18 months, I believe, that it takes for it to go from the collection point to a compostable product at the end of it. Bags look like that if you've seen them about. That's just a little bit about who our different third parties are. So Hunter Resource Recovery and Solo Resource Recovery are the 2 operating third parties. Maitland City Council is responsible for the collection of the general waste, but then we contract those other 2 bins out. Probably the key takeaways as far as difficult waste to process, aside from being here to talk about food waste, consideration of your batteries and electronic waste. Some of you might be aware we have had a truck fire. It was in the news a little while ago. It is a risk with batteries when they end up in the wrong place in the bins. Do you know where you can put your batteries and where to take them across town? Anyone doing it? Yep. A lot of the major retailers have now got collection bins set up. So supermarkets, Bunnings, Officeworks, Aldi, Coles, Woolies, those sort of guys. All of our libraries have a collection point as well. So you can take your batteries, you can take light bulbs, you can take some of those difficult electronic items. We don't take, at our facilities, we don't take any of the really large electronics and that kind of thing, but we do take that associated small waste. And in at the new building, our managed administration centre. So we have a collection point in there that you can take them in. The yellow bin recycling, you'll see that these are the common items that people put in there, and there's this term now that people call wish cycling, and that's the whole concept of, I really want this to get recycled, I'm not sure whether it does, but I'll put it in the yellow bin and hope for the best. And it causes all sorts of problems. So the worst case scenario is that it contaminates an entire load, and your wish cycling, hoping for the best that this little thing's going to get recycled, has just eliminated a whole truckload's worth of recycling that could have happened. So if in doubt, I suppose, that's the message there. You go and check if you can. If you are going to put something in the recycling bin, you check where you can. And if you are unsure, if you're not able to determine it, put it in the red bin. I know it goes to landfill, and that doesn't sound terribly green to say, but it's better than the contamination issue it causes. Yes?
You know LPG gas canisters.
Yes, so
What's the story with those?
you can do a drop-off. So are you like doing the refill that you're talking about, or like
No,
what?
the throwaway ones.
Oh, okay. I think if you are to go to the waste recovery facility, let me just bring up the map there. So at the waste recovery facility, the tip, the dump, these are the terminology. Recycling area, then a sort of a garden and larger, bring your trailer load of those sort of things. Then tyres, concrete bricks, metals and mattresses. So step 1 would be area 1 for that kind of thing, where we'll collect different the likes of things that are what we deem tricky or hazardous waste or
From memory, there's batteries and
yes,
electronic waste and gas cylinders, all there. Just pull up and drop it on.
yeah. So
Whichever box.
area 1 is where those sort of, it doesn't belong in the red bin, and the yellow bin for that contractor, they can't look after it. So you bring it to get, it's still going to get recycled, but you bring it to the centre yourself. So on that, I don't mind really jumping around, are you aware of what your entitlements are for those kind of bulky wastes?
Entitlements.
Yeah, so as ratepayers, what you're entitled to each year?
No, that's one of the issues that I have always. We've done that.
Dungog, did you say? Yeah. So, I am too actually.
Yeah, that. We're neighbours.
There you go. So, with ratepayers for Maitland, as a Maitland ratepayer, you're entitled to 2 different forms of bulky waste, and you have a voucher to do both of those, and you can choose how you do it. So you're entitled to do 2 drop-offs, and generally, where it's these recycled products, it's only where it'll specify, and there's more details on the website that go into all the costs and charges, but unless it's a hazardous waste or something deemed that's, it sits in a difficult area to recycle, tyres for example that incur a charge, your 2 drop-offs, or you can arrange for 2 free pickups instead as well. Now the problem that the pickups cause is when people say, oh, I'm entitled to 2 free pickups, but they don't register it. So we have just a page on the website, or you can ring up and you book in your address to do the pickup. The problem we get is people don't do that. They just go, oh, I'm entitled to 2, I'll put my stuff out on the curb, and then it's illegal dumping essentially. So at that point, it's not our team, it's the compliance team, the rangers will get involved, and then it's a matter of educating the resident into, no, you needed to log it, so we actually knew to collect it, not just put your rubbish out and expect someone's going to turn up and collect it. Yes?
To give us a time, I haven't about, I'll just take it, but if I ring you up and go, I've got some bulky waste,
Yep.
do they tell me the powers Monday next week?
Yeah, you can arrange a date and time that's going to work for you. Yeah, so they'll log it into the system for the guys to know when they're going to come and do the pickup basically. Yeah.
Ring us in, mate.
So as I was saying, with your entitlement to bring those wastes in, you've also, because we're trying to encourage the recycling and reduce the amount of the waste that is just getting turfed into landfill, that you can go and take these to the centre for free of charge. And typically what people will do, will amass a bit of a delivery first, so they're not running back and forth and doing it. But it's these kind of wastes that we can accept in that area 1 and won't charge you for recycling those. And what I can do, Alison, is send this information so you've got a hard copy to distribute, or a soft copy, sorry, electronic one that can get passed around if you like.
What do you mean by X-rays?
The actual, I don't know what the name of it is. The film, the negative.
Oh, just the negative.
Pardon me?
Just the negative.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant.
No, there's a certain chemical that is.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So, because these are the kind of things that are problematic potential, or there's a potential toxicity to just put it in landfill and let it amass. Whereas if we collect it, offer it to be collected for free, then we're promoting the fact that we're going to get that out of the ground and hopefully divert it to somewhere where it might be able to be recycled in some cases, or at least prevented from being at a point where it's putting more emissions than it needs to. So there's a few more. There's your gas bottles. We do have, so the EPA will, they're our authority that will then help with the arrangement of the likes if you've ever done chemical clean-outs or drum muster or that sort of thing. So we generally, Maitland Council will advise when those events are going to be on. And that's, if anyone done the drum muster or anything like that before? So it's an event that'll get advertised, and it's usually for a chemical collection. So we name a designated point, staff are there to come and collect and handle that and arrange for it to be transported away, and it's sort of a mass event, similar to the mattress muster, if anyone's seen one of those in progress. It's just like the mattress drop-off. When those drum musters or chemical clean-outs are arranged, it's about those tricky things like old paint and such that go and get collected all at once.
How often is that facility available?
Usually once a year on the drop-offs, like those arranged events, but this one is available if you've got these sort of things, where you just come in free of charge to drop these off recycle-wise, just standard operating hours.
If you're mate,
Yeah, I have to talk to Will about organising.
I don't know whether I can help cross. Okay, so we had a look at the waste hierarchy, and then when we're looking at our food waste, so I said, yeah, about a quarter of the bins is our food waste that is by weight across our red bins. Then this FOGO service will start on the 20th of June, so it's the Monday. And I'll go through sort of what can go in this and what can't, and how you're going to get it. So we're trying, these kitchen caddies are just for the purpose of supporting people's behaviour change. So we are providing one to each household. It's part of the domestic rates and charges. So those will go on, they actually went to council last night, so they'll be publicly available as of tomorrow, I believe. So tomorrow's the 17th. They should be available where you'll see what the fees and charges are for the coming year as part of the rates. That will have the sort of the breakdown of where this all fits. I haven't seen it yet. The kitchen caddy themselves, each one of these will come to your household. So one per household with the role of liners. So the caddy, and then this one, which is the role that you'll receive is 150 of these. So that works out at about 3 a week. They're biodegradable, that meets an Australian standard that the third party composting facility needs us to have. So when in negotiation with them, they're saying we need this particular bin based on what it's made of, the micron thickness, etc. So we've said, right, we'll provide those so that way we don't, we're not encouraging contamination through the means of people will go out, people would go and buy these themselves, and there's a plethora of different biodegradable bags on the market. Some might be suitable and some might not. So you'll get provided with the bags, you get provided with the caddy. The whole idea of that is just to help people go start a new routine in their kitchen of collecting food scraps and taking it out. I was going to talk to one guy, he said, I don't want that. He said, the only reason I'm allowed to buy ice cream is because I use the ice cream container to collect the food scraps. I said, good, just hide that in the back shed, I don't care. Keep using the ice cream container, whatever it is. But the idea is just helping people get a new routine of taking your food scraps out to the green bin. That's the main thing.
No problem.
Pardon me?
Meat is no problem.
Meat is no problem. So what can go in here? In that kitchen caddy, we're collecting all food. The only exception to actual food is hard oyster shells, lobster shells that we're all enjoying on a weekly basis. So, fruit and vegetables, obviously. Then the likes of meat, bones, dairy, bread, all those items that you typically wouldn't put in a home compost. I imagine some of you are home composting already, or worm farming, or keeping chickens. It's those difficult items. I'm explaining, particularly when I'm talking to people who say, oh, I'm already composting, I don't need to listen to this. So I do too, but it's the likes of the bones, it's the likes of the meat and fish and things like that I wouldn't go and put in my garden one, that this is able to process because it takes it on such a commercial scale.
So eggshells?
Eggshells are fine, yes. So the if you consider all of the edible food waste that can go in there, and then the things that we're worried about for contamination wise are those hard shells. They just apparently don't break down in the roughly 18-month composting process. They're just too tough and they'll end up still in the bag of compost they're trying to create. But the concern for us is things like fruit stickers, tea bags, the strings in the bags themselves. All those little things where people are what's the behaviour going to be? Are they really likely to peel the sticker off the avocado skin before it goes into there? We think that's a big ticket item really, because if that happens 35,000 times every week, then our compost at the end of it's going to be full of fruit stickers. Or same with tea bags, that sort of thing. Then our other education point is it's for the edible food, not for the associated packaging. So I've had some people think about, I've got my punnet of strawberries that have gone off, I'll just drop the whole punnet, plastic, cardboard tray, all of that all in there, and it'll go and get composted. But we need people to know that they've got to separate those into those parts are going to go in the recycling bin, and the food is going to go in the food bin.
So, with the green bags, do they have to be tied up?
They can be. So with the liners being biodegradable, again, it's more of a trying to teach people and give them the easiest and least path, the path of least resistance, basically. You don't have to use the liners at all, okay? But the liners should help eliminate the likes of smells and pests and things like that. Would that be a concern, valid concern for people in the room? Likes of attracting pests and things like that. So I have said to people that, what do you currently do with your food waste? And you might compost it or something like that, but currently, for a lot of households, they simply are just doing this, but it's a bigger bin in the corner in the kitchen. Everything goes in it. So the cockroaches are already there, the smell is already there. This is just a smaller bin on the kitchen bench. So yes, tie it up and you can drop the whole bag straight into the green bin. So you just put your food scraps in there, tie it up, take the green bag out, open the green bin, drop it in. And yes, you absolutely could. So you could do without that completely. If you're happy to just wash this out every now and then, you can do without the liners. It's all this is about is, from our point of view, for other councillors who've done it before us, it's been shown that when you provide residents with the little caddy and the bags to help them change their behaviour, you usually get a better result. But there's no absolute need to use it.
We've got 61 units, but we don't have 61 garbages.
No.
So are we all?
How many green bins would you have, do you think?
Well, we share between 2 or 3 villas.
Okay. Yeah.
So not every 61's going to get one of these. What?
No, each villa, this is for the kitchen. So each kitchen, so each villa will have one of these, because we need to encourage you to get that food script out to the green bin. But it might be that 3 or 4 villas are all contributing to the same green bin. Yeah.
Actually, so we use individual ratepayers, like with this rate of
We don't pay rates.
Yeah, that part will be okay, because that's sort of the likes of what my colleague Dean's doing, where it's about, let's try to get a tailored solution that right down to change the bin day if we have to try to get it to work. Because it's all those little intricacies of, the broad view is every house gets one of those and they put their green bin out, but that's not how it works. Not every house is the same like that.
What's an inedible part? You're talking about tea bags, for example. That's inedible.
Yeah, the bag itself is inedible. You could tear the bag and you could tip the tea leaves in if you wished. So if people were that keen. One thing, when I talk about reducing food waste, so these sort of strategies though, for this to be really effective, and what as a goal of improved sustainability, wouldn't just be about having the same amount of food waste and now it goes from being in a red bin to a green bin. But what we should be trying to do is cut down that amount of food waste on the way. And by that food waste, I'm talking about the associated food waste that might go with it as well. So the likes of the tea bag. So initiative to try is go to loose leaf tea. Sort of, what a lot of people say to me when I'm particularly in the supermarkets and things like that is, that's how we used to do it. A lot of it is modern convenience has brought a lot of waste into, as far as waste associated with food goes. And we only have to turn back the clock a little bit and look at how things were done prior to these convenience products, and we get back to a type of food where it's local, it's fresh, has less packaging because of that, there's less transport involved in that, and we've got an easier solution because we're not generating the waste in the first place. However, convincing people to change those habits and get them to switch to loose leaf tea or tear open tea bag and tip those sort of things in, well, they say, well, that costs me time or that might cost me money, and so it's not the easiest sell. But it is these kind of things where we cut the waste down. So how at the point of sale or at point of purchase for us, how do we cut down the waste that we're bringing into the household in the first place? So we say, do you have a meal plan for the week? How does the shopping work in the household? Do you plan around having those meals laid out and looking at, am I efficiently, the way I'm buying it, am I efficiently buying what I need for the week, or am I ending up with, oh, that might be nice on that night, but I might cook that, and then at the end of the week there's uncooked food and something that might be going off or not going to last into the next week. Or the order that we cook things that we've purchased as well. So when you're sort of putting your shopping list together for the week, are you planning things like, I need to cook these things on Monday and Tuesday so that they're not off by the time I get to Friday? So for some of us, and probably for a lot of you in the room, you're just thinking that's exactly common sense. Of course I do that, but it's not necessarily the typical thinking that goes on, right? Yeah, it's that thinking ahead and planning what you're going to do with it so you don't end up with the food waste and you get to Friday and there's things that should have been cooked and they're going off, etc. We get into lunch boxes and that sort of thing with people as well, or whether it's just meals that you're taking to work, whether you're relying on packaged things because they have that, that lastability, that they'll sit in the bag or sit on the shelf, or you can chuck them in the back of the fridge at work or whatever it might be. But changing that habit so that you're not relying on that packaged processed food that has all that associated waste that comes with it. And then if you are generating the waste, have you got some other way of putting it to use within your home, within the kitchen, within the garden, before it has to go and hit the bin? So something I'm looking to help support run around the community, whether it's through our libraries or some different facilities, will be the likes of preserving workshops, or the likes of doing composting workshops, or the likes of those, again, skills from previously, where we preserved food, we saved food, we didn't just, I didn't get to eat it this week, so now it's rubbish, that kind of thing. So how do we look at it holistically, how do we look at food waste and not just move it from one bin to the other, but start making less of it in the first place? So, in a nutshell, that'll come out to you between now and the end of June. I would safely assume around the start of June is when these will go across households. There is quite a lot of suburbs and quite a lot of houses to get them to. Do you want to pass it around and do a show and tell? So June 30 is when it starts. From that date, we'll be putting the green bins out weekly. The other two bins are going to stay as they are. There'll be a period of adjustment, obviously, for people to get used to it. We're anticipating then that we're probably going to have people say to us, I'm not using the red bin very much anymore. I'm not putting all this food in it. It's now got more space in it. So we're anticipating then being able to offer a reduction for people in the red bin service. You'll be able to opt in and make your red bin a fortnightly bin instead, and that'll bring a small discount off your waste charge. So then you might end up in the situation where your only weekly bin is a green one, and you have red and yellow alternating. That's a possibility that people will be able to opt into. Questions?
How are you going to differentiate if I've got a weekly or a fortnightly service?
Just a big sticker on the lid for the truck drivers. Yeah. We have a similar arrangement in some places already like that for certain services where some of it's a situation where there's multiple bins at certain dwellings and they need to be collected at different times. So, yeah, a big sticker is usually what does the job. Yeah, prawn heads seem to be fine. I'd put them in the freezer first still. But apart from that, they're soft enough. They're all okay. Yep.
Are they doing exactly the same for the like restaurants and cafes at the same time?
Not at the same time. So I think, this service is definitely just for residential at this point. I'm quite keen to see how it can go and then get operated in the likes of schools, for example. But then, yeah, when the viability of it being able to be done commercial will likely be based on what the industrial capacity is. So when industry has the capacity in waste management facilities that are up to standard to do this food composting, because there's different, obviously, like pathogen management for when people's food waste is involved versus garden waste. So it's about those facilities getting to the point where they can operate to standard to accept food waste in bulk. And when we get there, then hopefully that means that no matter whether you're commercial or residential, we start composting on that large scale.
It's sort of what we throw out, but then what must go out back to
100%. Yeah. And that's that faith thing I sort of said at the start, whereas there's a story. My cousin's a RAF pilot, and his mum bought an electric vehicle, or a hybrid at that point, thought she was doing the right thing. He came back from his first flight that he'd been up and said, "Mum, I've just burnt through 3 years of the same amount of fuel that your car does." So, and then how do you, that's a big part of education for me, that we're being asked to do lots of things, lots of steps, lots of changes to our lives to try to accommodate more sustainable habits, but then there's the big picture that we all fit into as well. And it's exactly that. How much food waste do you produce versus that restaurant down the street that's got it going out the back door? Yeah. So it's definitely that's the consideration for people in the back of their mind, and whether they feel like there's a trust there, or whether, what's the point of this? Is it, trying to validate that it is a good thing to do, and that your small contribution, it is a contribution. We've just got to go in the right direction. No, I probably wouldn't either. Yeah. The rate, the amount of bags should provide it for at least taking it out 3 times a week. If you go through that first year of bags more quickly than we expect, you're able to go down to the nearest library, or you can come into the council building and receive a free top-up of the liners.
Oh.
So that'll just be ongoing for residents to pop in, to be able to go in and collect those from, particularly the library should be an easy point for a lot of people to get to and collect. Yes, that's a pretty key point. You're exactly right. The bag that we issue is, particularly in the early days, trying to get everything on the right track where contamination rates are as low as possible, because they'll do it to the point of hand picking through what's been unloaded in the mess hall. Truck will come in, unload, do a pick through. We've already done some trials of it where they literally are going and eyeballing and hand identifying and pulling out the waste. That kind of thing where, if people sort of deviate from the plan with their own bags, look, there's going to be some that are fine, but there will also likely be some that are claimed to be biodegradable bags, and they're just simply not up to scratch.
So the composting,
Yep.
part of the business case is that's theirs, and that's...
Yeah, it becomes
by selling it?
Yes, it becomes a commercial product. So for them, the viability comes from being able to, they're investing in the facility and the collection, obviously, and then have the payback of a product that can be commercially available. The sort of the proof, I guess, the test point so far of that has been what we already do with the green bin. They already do produce a compost product with that does get used. And given away to residents. So that'll be the next evolution for the food waste one as well.
That's called green waste. Green bins for green waste.
Yes, which... No, the green bin would currently, we would call it the garden organics bin, the go bin, and now it will be a FOGO bin, a food organics, garden organics bin. What's the general vibe? Is it another thing that you've got to do, or is it a step in the right direction? Is it a hassle? What's the gist of it? I heard it all, so I won't be offended. Yeah, I've heard that one. Yeah. Won't be doing it yet, I'll say. You've got, Yeah, for all of us that aren't Maitland residents, we're on a timeline of somewhere between now and 2030. So if the council's not doing it yet, they'll be planning it. Or if they haven't started planning it, they'll be shortly.
We already compost.
Yep.
Our red bin, which is a small red bin, not the normal size one, but the small red bins in the council, that has that probably once a fortnight, if we're lucky. We recycle and we do the can of bottles, so our recycling bin ain't probably goes out once a fortnight.
Yeah,
So we will cut down.
you're doing extremely well. And that's the personal responsibility part of it. That if everyone, took that high responsibility level with our waste, we dramatically improve the picture. And then this is sort of like that commercial catch-all that goes, oh, for the people who aren't going to do those things, can we try to give you an easy habit that will hopefully take a lot of it out of the picture?
Ice cream container.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah,
that's us.
exactly. Yeah.
It's a green garbage. We could actually gardens, we have lots of gardens.
Yep.
And the green garbage gets rid of trimmings. And you've got all this other stuff.
Yes, yeah, but it'll be twice as frequent. So your fortnightly bin will become a weekly bin.
Green.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I see your point. If we take, that's a quarter of the red bin weight-wise that we're asking to move into the green bin, and there are some pretty exuberant users of their green bins. So it's about finding that, yeah. Yeah, I would say for the majority of residents I speak to when I'm out and about in public is that's good, but I couldn't be more excited about having a weekly green bin. That's the big change that people are excited about. In fact, we're putting food in and it's almost secondary to some people, but yeah, it's where we can make a really effective change.
Just a quick one.
Yeah.
I noticed on one of your slides, earlier
Yep.
slides, you had up on your yellow bin.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put any dirty food containers in there.
Yep.
How clean have I got to have me pins?
Good question. Yeah. A wipe or a rinse out will usually suffice. It's okay if there's a little, bit of residue, a bit of something stuck to the side there, that sort of thing. Again, it comes down to when they're doing in the mess hall and doing a pick through and having a look at it. The highly contaminated stuff will either be removed by hand, or if there's too much of it, be a write-off. So the cleaner the better, but it doesn't have, don't be too scrupulous about it.
Well, you could put, get a pizza with a bit of fat on the bottom.
That's right, yeah. A bit of oil on the pizza box, or the odd bit of cheese or something like that. Yeah, that's...
If you've got to wash your hands up, you've got to use probably better water and detergent and that. You do it with feet.
Yeah, then the water usage is going up and the people in the other section of the policy aren't happy. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be spotless, but removing, that stuff stuck around the side of the can or, that sort of thing. So it's, as clean as you can get it without going to too much effort, basically.
The PE teacher in
Pardon me?
that particular slide said you went back to it.
Yeah.
I read all of that before I went, that's really weird, you told me what to put in there. So I read
avoid contamination.
It needs to be next.
Put a big crossover record. Yeah. Yeah, these are our problem areas in those 3 bins. Yeah. I didn't mention pet waste earlier, I'll just touch on that. No, it shouldn't. No, this is contamination problems. Yeah. So batteries are our biggest problem in red bins when we've got fires in there. Our plastic bags in the yellow bin are our biggest problem in there. Our plastic bags are our biggest problem in both the yellow and the green bin. They don't belong in any of them. They only go in red bin. But yeah, pet waste. Again, it's for the facility at the end of this process. They can't handle pet waste as a part of those organics because of the pathogen element to it. I believe there are some facilities in parts of Australia included that can do it, but not around here, so maybe down the track.
Just on the yellow bin one,
Yep.
plastic cutlery, what's wrong with putting, it's hard plastic, white,
Yeah, it doesn't meet the standards that they need for our third party that does the recycling, to our resource recovery. Unable to do it. The thing is with that universal recycling logo, you know, the Mobius strip of arrows going around, yes, it means it's recyclable. So there is recyclable versions of that plastic cutlery, but it doesn't mean the facility that collects your waste recycles it. That's the only difference. So these are the things that locally, where our recycling goes, they can't handle it. Maybe there'd be other facilities elsewhere that could, but this is, yeah, local to us. I'm gonna go back to the one I'm in the middle of. I've left one workshop to come to another. Thank you. It seems like it was a lot of information, but hopefully a change that everyone's able to build in as a party from June onwards.
Oh, yeah. You got a placard or something you could... Oh, the
Oh yeah, do you want me to? Sorry. Yeah.
You can say that on the same thing.
Oh, yeah, if they're not looking for one, I
Yeah.
can steal this one.
It's freezer. We're going to get one.
All right, thank you, Will, so much. I think everyone's learnt a lot tonight. For us unfortunates that don't live in Maitland Council area, we'll just look on and hopefully that sort of thing will come back to us soon.
I think Dungald's first step's getting a green bin, so
Oh,
we don't
hopefully soon
necessarily
though.
need it. I think a lot of us are. Oh,
think
too
you
much,
can
thank you.
Serious.
My kids will be wrapped with that.
Well, thank you for so much for coming along and sharing all your information with us.
No worries, like I said, I'll
Just want to give them a round of applause to say thank you. I'll let you go back to your other tonight.
Thank
Okay, thanks,
Enjoy your
Will.
evening.
Thanks so much.
Don't forget your computer. Oh, I'll be in trouble with that tomorrow.
All right.
Turn it off. We'll get back into our meeting. Where are we up to? We're done business.
Thanks,
hour.
everyone.
Thanks, Will.
Happy Easter.
Yeah, happy Easter.
What's your next number?
Where are we up to? We've done that.
Question, how did you answer that?
All right, we'll get into committee reports. Is that next on the list?